pinnacle of all discussion. This is what we do every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays here on Flow 94.9 FM. We look at various issues as they affect us as Abians and as Nigerians. Thank you so much for joining me on the platform this morning. My name is Ginika Olwoha. Now, the crisis rocking the Progressives' Grand Alliance, Apga in Abia State, has taken another dimension, with accusation and counter-accusation by some party chieftains in the build-up to the 2023 general election. With the ugly trend arising from the party, it poses great threat for the Apga to take over the government in Abia State next year. On the platform this morning, the focus will be on the disagreement between the Apga governorship candidate Professor Greg Ibe and the chieftain of the party, Sachikwe Udensi, as we x-ray the major cause of such misunderstanding and the way forward. And we are looking at the Apga crisis and the build-up to the 2023 general election in Abia State. Welcome once again. Like I told you, my name is Ginika Olwoha. Now, joining me virtually to talk about this issue is a former Secretary General of Argon, recipient of 6 awards on innovation and creativity, Kwame Leadership Award on Security, fellow of Ethical Leadership, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, and Interpol Systems Consultant. I'm talking about Sir Chikwe Udensi. Thank you so much, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I think we should just start with the issues you're having in Apga, the crisis and the court order. Just take us through, how did we actually get to this point?
Do we really have a crisis? We don't have a crisis. We have a court order that nullified the primaries that was held, that threw up Greg Ibe as the candidate. You recall that we had primaries just like every other party a few months ago, especially in the April and May. And we went to court to say that the process and also the delegate list that was used for that process was a wrong one. And we have been vindicated by the courts that it is a wrong one. Right now, the courts have requested that we should have fresh primaries. I hope this will come up whenever the party is ready.
Okay, talking about that particular event, I mean the primary election, it was alleged that on that day of election, you actually left the venue for another venue to conduct your own primary, hence what we're having in Apga today. What's the true position of things?
Well, on the morning of the primaries, we were summoned by the chairman of the committee, and we were informed of the rules and regulations and also how they intend to hold the primaries. And he said very clearly, and this was also confirmed in court by his colleagues, especially those who came in from Abuja. They confirmed it in court, that he informed everybody that the primaries will hold in 2 places. One of them will be at the coping for the accreditation, and then the voting proper will hold at Villaroy. That was the information we had.
Okay, so the accreditation was supposed to hold at coping, then the voting will hold at where?
At Villaroy. What he said is that this is practice, and that this is practice he must keep. In fact, Greg Ibe and the people, they were opposed to that. They didn't want that. I think it was only General Ijoma that was neither here nor there. But they opposed it. I understood what they meant by that when we arrived at Villaroy, at Kopin. When we arrived at Kopin, the essence of it, the need for it became very obvious. Because there were talks everywhere. There were other ceremonies. There was a naming ceremony going on in the same Kopin area, inside the same compound. Accreditation in one place. And also the Kopin hall could only take about 200 people. Whereas we have very close to 500 252 delegates coming to do the voting. So that was the problem. And once they commenced the process of accreditation, I went to the place it ought to be, the voting ought to take place. And that was where the voting took place. Anything that happened, any voting that happened in Kopin was a fraud, a cheap fraud, and that is what we challenged in court. And thank God today, the court have nullified what they did in Kopin, saying it must be redone. If that was not the position, why did the court nullify it? The court had to nullify what they did in Kopin because they did the wrong thing and they used the wrong delegate list to do the accreditation and also the voting in Kopin. And the right thing was what was done at Villaroy.
Okay, so at that particular event, other aspirants, were they aware of this arrangement where you have accreditation at Kopin, then the voting at Villaroy? Were they aware of that? Well, because it appears that on that day, all of them stayed back at Kopin to finish up with the process, except from what we are getting, only you that actually left.
They made their own judgments and stayed back, and they have all lost their own cases in court. I'm the only one who left, I won my case in court. So what is your judgment in that regard? If they decided to stay back there and do what is wrong, and I'm the only one who left and did what was right, well, I'm justified. That is why I'm saying today, we must have to do what is right, no matter how convenient it is for us to do what is wrong. What is right must always be done.
Okay, so some of your supporters are actually alleging that a new entrant in the person of Professor Ibe actually came into the party a few weeks before the primary and picked the party's ticket. What does this speak to, especially the reward system of Apga on this particular issue?
Well, he pick the ticket? The whole process was a very flawed process. If you are in another party and you want to come into another party, what you should do is, there's a system. In fact, I was even surprised that the party didn't take the regular 90 days moratorium before you come in. Is it 90 days or 6 months moratorium?
Was there any arrangement of a waiver, maybe for a new person that comes into the party?
You see, we must have to have a system where people remain where they are. This idea of being very fluid, if you come here, you don't like it, you go there the next minute. You see, every party has the manifesto, and you must have to imbibe the manifesto of the party. The party's manifestos are different. So if you decide that you are like the manifesto of PDP, remain in PDP. And they also remain with the discipline of PDP and also the elections of PDP. But our people are very fluid and very, very cunning. If they are in PDP and lose in PDP, they will jump into Apga, or they look for where they will go and cause problems and create, especially where you have very hungry leadership of the party in the states. When you have hungry state leadership of the party, the tendency is that they will be excited by money. And don't forget that of Abia State was a very peculiar one. Apga Abia, the leadership of the party in the state wanted somebody to sign agreements with them. Those agreements I refused to sign. And then Gregory was very, very willing to sign those agreements.
What agreement specifically?
Are you a stranger in Abia State? Don't you know the origin of the problem? Flow FM?
No, because Abians are listening and they want to know exactly what transpired.
Abians know. Everybody in Abia knows that the problem in Apga is that Chiku Densi refused to sign an agreement that was going to give out the Commonwealth of Abians to some select groups. I said I would not sign that agreement. That was the agreement that Gregory Ibe signed. And that is the crux of the problem. The agreement stated all kinds of things, all kinds of conditions for me to sign. And I refused to sign those agreements. That was the crux of the problem in Abia State. And then you know there is this saying that it's a people saying what a crane may be Hiroshi when a Jew about when your father sent you for a crime, you have the emboldenment. So it is that emboldenment that they had having signed something that gave them anticipated benefits, and they start causing all kinds of problems. Let me give you an example of one of the problems which was put before the court, and which the victim came to court to testify. The chairman of the delegate election, Barrister Ifanya, was kidnapped from his room and taken to an unidentified place, and was kept there for 12 hours and was fined. He was forced to sign delegate lists that they used for that primaries. That is the essence of the problem. So they got so much emboldened with all kinds of fraud and arrogance, and thought they could now hoodwink everybody. But then we went to court and we said, "Court, this is what happened." And we got all the witnesses, and the court nullified it, having seen that it was obtained fraudulently. So you cannot put something on nothing. There was nothing there for them to put something on, and they decided to put something on it, and it failed, and it failed greatly. So what we have always said is that in the process of INEC at the National Assembly having to put together reforms, we should also put together a reform that has to do with party leadership, especially at the ward, at the local government, and at the state levels. The party leadership in these areas are the reasons why we have over 98% of the court cases today, because they are highly emboldened to do what is wrong. They are all highly emboldened to commit crime. Not at the national level. At the national level, there seems to be some level of sanity. But at these lower levels, the emboldenment is so much that they don't even care what the law says. So this is what creates this enormous problem that we have in the system. And that is what happened in the case of Apga State. I refused to sign an agreement, which I felt was wrong in the eyes of God and good men, and the good people decided to sign that agreement.
Well, I just hope
that agreement.
Sir, I just wish you can just own up the statement. I mean, the allegation you're making now against Professor Ibe, because we do not have such facts before. So if you are making that allegation against him, it's strictly your opinion. Agreed, sir?
It is just not my opinion. I'll provide for you, for your benefits, which every other station have. I'm surprised Flow FM does not have.
Okay.
I'll provide for you a copy of the agreement, so you can be able to make your judgment yourself.
Okay.
They have not denied they didn't sign the agreement. No, they are not denying it. In fact, this is the crux of the problem in Abia State, and everybody knows that in Abia. Everybody, the market women know, the youth knows that, the churches know that. The problem in Abia State was that agreement, and I'm going to provide it for you so that you can use it to have to your own records too.
Now, moving on the show, with this court judgment that actually nullified the primary of your party, the Apga. Now, if now the court said you should organize another fresh primary for governorship position, now who is going to organize this? I mean, the chairman that is going to organize this, because you have two chairmen right now laying claims to the chairmanship position of your party.
Actually, the process of the primaries for governorship elections is not a matter for the state. It is a matter for the National Working Committee of the party. And the laws are very clear. The Electoral Act is very clear on it, and the party constitution is very clear on it. However, when it comes to who is in charge in Abia State, it has played that over and over. And I'm surprised that the press, especially the print and electronic media, have not been up to the sincerity of purpose. What do I mean by that? We had a situation where two people were seeking and claiming a stool, which is the chairmanship of the party Apga in Abia State. These two people have gone to court. They did not just go to lower court, which is the State High Court in Omaya. They went to an appeal court in Owerri. And the judgments of these two courts are available. And to add more to it, during the process of my case in court, Nnamdi Kebu came to court and said that he is the chairman of the party. He did not just say it orally. He filed a deposition in court and attached all the court judgments that he has. And in that process, the court invited him to on the box, on the witness box. I was looking forward to the either a Yemere or any of his cohorts to come and say, no, you're not the chairman. I was looking forward to a Yemere's lawyer who was in court to challenge Mr. Kebu, Namno Kebu. I was looking forward to that. Throughout the process of interrogation in court, nobody challenged Namno Kebu. In fact, Namno Kebu said that he is the authentic chairman, and the court agreed with him at the Federal High Court. If somebody claims a position and it's unchallenged, it's assumed to be true. So as I'm talking to you right now, in the eyes of the law, I'm not the court, so I can't make those judgments. But in the eyes of the law, we have two judgments. The two judgments state very clearly, one from the State High Court, and then the other one from Appeal Court, in a word. Two of them states very clearly that the chairman of the party is Nana Ukebo. Anything to the contrary is not acceptable. But let me make it very clear again that I'm very concerned about this negative audacity of most politicians. You must have to go to court and abide by what the court says. Don't forget, not too long ago, when I got my judgment, the judgment was given today. To the following day, Mr. Greg Ribe went to what do they call it? They went to constitute a campaign team. A day before, a court of competent jurisdiction has said you are no more a candidate. Why must you disobey court orders? We have the patent of disobedience to court order. If a court gives an order, we have options. In fact, in the system today, we have 3 stages of option. State High Court or Federal High Court, you go to Court of Appeal. From Court of Appeal, you go to Supreme Court.
Yeah.
A day after the judgment was given in my favor, some people were saying that they have already obtained a stay of execution, even when they have not even filed the appeal itself. So this patent for disobedience of court and for exhibiting all kinds of negatives and exuberating some negative audacity, it's very disturbing. If you seek to lead, you must be law-abiding. You must make sure you obey the orders of court. And I was also surprised that the man who was next to him and who was making an announcement as the chairman of the party in the state is also the same man who has been removed by a court of competent jurisdiction. So these audacities, these negative audacities, it tends to bother me to a large extent that those who's trying to lead us must have to be law-abiding. That should not be negotiable.
All right, Sir Chikudensi. Now, when you made that allegation of Professor Greg Ribe signing an agreement, and the rest of them, many people may have their own misgivings as regards to that allegation, because it's also alleged in some quarters that you're actually being sponsored by the PDP to make sure that you thwart the ambition of Apga in the state. How true is that?
Who will PDP? I won't give credence to a rubbish allegation. Who in PDP is talking to Chikudensi? PDP doesn't have the audacity to talk to me. PDP is afraid of Chikudensi. Nobody in PDP can come to me and talk anything to me. So all those allegations are what is called corruption fighting back. When you put facts on the table, well, rather than, let me give you an example of what I mean.
Okay.
I was reliably informed that Flo gave forum for one slick Ogbo to use derogatories and make allegations against me. I have made proper inquiries from Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, and the fact remains that Flo FM is vicariously liable to whatever allegation, false allegation, anybody makes against the other.
That's why we have you on the platform this morning. So that we can get your own side.
Yeah, we have it on record. We have it on record that Mr. Ogo said very clearly that there's an account he called an account and said some certain amount of money in billions was paid to Udensi's account, and he mentioned the account. You see, when things like this happen, I cannot be arrogant to go and start challenging him. No, I'll take a process. The process is very clear. And it's a process I have taken before. In 2015, we had that same allegation of that same amount and that same account. And the young man who made that allegation was given an option to apologize, which I will be giving to Ogbo today too, to apologize. The young man did not do that. And today I have a 150 million naira claim, court order claim against him. He has left the country